So for the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of buzz online about this brand new image model called Nano Banana. And everyone's been talking about it and like, oh my God, this is the best new image model. Who built it? Where's it coming from? And it turns out it was actually from Google. And they announced it to the public yesterday and gave everyone access on their Gemini app. So now what you're seeing on my screen is the Google AI Studio, which is the developer backend where you can go in and play around with different models. You may have already have access to this new model on the Gemini app, but if you don't, you can get free access on aistudio.google.com. So when you go into the Google AI Studio, you'll get some options over here. And as you can see, I can pick from a bunch of different models. The latest one, Nano Banana, is the Gemini 2.5 Flash image preview model. And this is the one that everyone's raving about. And so in this video, I want to show you all the cool things and the reason why everyone's talking about it, why it is the best new image model on the market. So I've already been playing around with it, and I wanted to show you some examples that I've already created. Now, none of these are like cherry picked or anything. It was just one-shotted. I asked, in this case, I asked the model to generate an image of a UFC fighter posing at a press conference before a big fight. And as you can see here, it does generate this image, and it looks really great. As you can see, it's got really good detail. It's got the text as well that's coming out really well. UFC Fight Night, Octagon Sportswear, all the logos that come up in the background. Even these little logos, the ESPN and so on the microphones. And then the detail of the tattoos, the lion here, everything is just so good. Like it creates really well detailed images. But what's really cool about it is not just the initial image it creates. It's able to hold that image through a series of prompts. So for example, I said, make him wear this chain, and I uploaded an image of just a random gold chain that I found online. And boom, here's what Gemini came back with. That same gold chain on top of him, and it's covering the lion over there. But it's like the same image, exact same image in the background, the fighter, everything, the same pose. There's no difference. And then you have this chain that's overlaid on top, which makes it really cool because now you can like have, generate sort of like image models and then have them add your brand into it. And now you have consistency across all of these images that are coming out with your brand image over there. So here's another illustration of what I'm talking about. I just said, leopard sprinting gracefully across a desert road beside a sleek metallic green Jaguar sports car. And it comes out with the image, leopard, Jaguar sports car, green metallic, across a desert road. Great, amazing. But then I asked it to replace the Jaguar with a Cybertruck instead. And of course, it understood what I'm talking about, and it replaces it with a Cybertruck driving on the desert road, racing against a leopard. And so again, really great that you can have everything else stay the same and then just like replace one thing in an image with a prompt and even like have your branded images in there, like your product or a car or whatever. So here's another example where I want to do more content around brands, and so I gave it this really detailed description of a man who's on top of a giant pyramid of giant shoes. They should all be oversized Adidas Superstar sneakers, and here's the image, right? And I asked it to add the words "impossible is nothing" with Adidas, which is Adidas logo, and that's the image over there, right? And then I can even say add the Adidas logo to the bottom left corner, and it does that and comes out with this little thing here. This is fully AI generated, right? It generates the logo, generates the text as well. I didn't upload the logo, but it's really cool that it's able to do this. And now I have what looks like a really interesting ad, which I can like put on social media. So it's really great with generating realistic images, but I wanted to test to see if it's good at like the comic style or the animated style of images. It's something that I like adding to my blog and my YouTube thumbnails. So I asked it to create a Mobius-inspired retro-futuristic illustration, yada yada, so on and so forth. And it does actually a pretty good job. Now, like the details are not all that great if you zoom in, but the overall thing looks good. It was a little cluttered, so I said, there's too much going on in the scene, simplify it. And so, of course, it takes the same scene and basically cuts down a lot of the elements in the image, but it maintains the same theme across it, which is great. But again, if you zoom in closely, you don't, it's pretty granular. You don't really see much of the details. I did try to get it to add more cleaner surfaces and more details on the faces, and it sort of does it, but it's still not great. So I think it's good with animated images and comics. It just doesn't hold up if you like zoom all the way in. If you want something really well detailed or clear, it doesn't quite hold up. But it's still pretty good. Now, it may not be good at generating comic style images, but as I showed you earlier, you can upload images and ask it to work on those images. So this image here that you see is something that I generated in ChatGPT, and I asked it to upload it to Gemini. And there's a little, if you look at the monitor over here, there's like a little chart on the back of the monitor, and I didn't like that. So I asked it to remove it, and it does that, right? I just say remove the little chart at the back of the monitor, at the bottom left of the picture, and it does that while maintaining the rest of the scene. So it's really great if you just want to like edit photos that you've already taken, edit images, cartoon style, whatever style, upload that in Gemini, have it edit those. Who needs Photoshop anymore, right? I continued working on this and I said, make the robot and the man face the camera and wave. And again, it does that. It kind of like, as you can see, they're sort of facing each other in the first and they're looking down. And here they're like slightly faced towards the camera. They're looking up, they're waving, which is great. I asked it to add a small banana to the desk. And there you go. It's got a little banana. Again, the rest of the image is perfectly the same. But I love how it added the little shadow as well. Like it's just maintaining that, you could see the shadows everywhere. So it's kind of maintained that consistency of even the vibe of the place. Then I added a photo of me, completely different setting scenario. I said, this is a photo of me. Put me in the background of this original image, waving. And it puts me right there, right? Like, that is not my face. That is generic brown guy. But the clothes, the shirt is still like the Disney shirt that I have over there, the jeans. I'm waving as well. And it just like adds me in the same style and aesthetic. So that's really cool that you could do that with like, you know, editing images and then mixing and matching them, or bringing an image into your existing style and aesthetic and having it re-rendered over there. Continuing on that theme of like taking an existing image, uploading that into Gemini, and asking it to make edits. Like if you look here, I've got a photo of me where I'm wearing a black jacket in an alleyway. And then I ask it to change my clothes to a Hawaiian t-shirt and the background to beach. And it still maintains my face, makes me look very skinny in this re-render. But I've got like the Hawaiian t-shirt on and the beach background. So I asked it, I said I wanted to be sitting on the beach wearing glasses. And so this is me. This looks like me. It hasn't really changed anything around my face, which is what it got in the first photo. But it has made me, sit down with glasses, and, it looks very realistic with like my feet in the sand here, one hand in the pocket, the shadows. Everything is just like, this looks like a real photo that was taken of me sitting on the beach. Then I added this little logo of a walrus, and I said, add the walrus to the image. I want the walrus to be, I just said, add this walrus to the image. And obviously, it didn't really get what I was saying, so I just kind of like superimposed the walrus logo. But then I had to explain in detail. I meant I was looking for a realistic version of the walrus sitting next to me on the beach. And it actually does that. And so here you go, you got the walrus sitting next to me again, following those like shadows and stuff. And then it's got like the little top hat, the bow tie, and the feather from the logo. If you look here at the logo, and even the teeth that jutting out and so on. But of course, I noticed that the bow tie, the top hat, and the feather looked a bit cartoony, which doesn't fit the same photorealistic aesthetic of the rest of the image. So I asked it to make them realistic too. And it did that. So now you have a realistic looking bow tie on this walrus with a top hat and an actual feather. And that's me sitting right next to it. And then I said, all right, instead of a walrus, let's make a giant banana standing next to me. And boom, you go, giant banana, same top hat, feather, and bow tie. But the banana standing next to me, again, you got the shadows and so on. And then I said, add the words Nano Banana add a bunch of clouds in the shape of the words Nano Banana. And that's how I got my YouTube thumbnail image. And so that's Gemini 2.5 Flash image preview. Not a great name, but it is a really great image model. And you should check it out either in your Gemini app if you have access to it, or go to aistudio.google.com where you can play around with it for free for now. And try a bunch of stuff. Let me know what you think.